Hello, good evening, welcome to Love Talk. Relationships are already hard on its own, right? Now when you throw into the mix unfaithfulness from one of the two parties, you have their recipe for perhaps a prolonged lack of trust, and getting that trust back can be really hard. That's exactly what we're going to be talking about tonight.
Yes, and if you chose to take the person back, there's a few things you need to know. Okay, so we're going to be talking about these things.
That's right. So join us, and actually we're going to see what the people in the street of London have to say about this. How easy or how difficult is it for you to get the trust back after there has been an unfaithfulness in the relationship? Don't go anywhere.
If your partner cheated on you, would you give him another chance?
No,
Why?
because it's breaking up the relationship. There's no trust. And when you can't trust someone, there's no relationship with them.
So no chance at all.
No.
What about you?
No.
No. Any specific reason? Because sometimes
Circle of trust is acts.
I've actually had this conversation a lot with my friends. It's like of numerous debates. I mean, I'd like to think I would, but it's one of those things that you won't know until it actually happens to you. Like I often say a lot of things, but when a certain situation happens,
it's different, isn't it?
Yeah, it's much different. But I like to think I would, but I mean, it depends. If it's a marriage, then the consequences are going to be more devastating. If it's sort of a more looser relationship, then it probably won't be as bad. But
Yeah, I believe yes, because if I have to do it to the woman, I would love her to forgive me. So yes.
Yeah. Your love is great then.
Yes, it's actually yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I would, because I think you sort of set people, like, if you show someone that they can cheat on you and come back, then they'll always do it again. So I don't agree with cheating, and it's a no. It's a no going back.
You don't accept that. Okay.
No. I'll probably betray the person and then throw the person away.
Right. So, okay.
Right, so we had some very interesting points there. Actually, the first couple was very adamant when they said, she said, I will not forgive him. And the guy looked a little bit scared at the back, right?
Yeah, but then again, well, after he said he wouldn't forgive either, so maybe there was something happening or something that happened in the past. I don't know.
or he was just scared the way that he spoke. And you see that the majority of people, they, some of them...
It's a very sensitive thing.
Yeah. It's not something that you can say, I would or I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like the guy said, you wouldn't know until you're there.
Yeah, he was very wise when he gave his opinion. Pardon me. You only know when you are in that situation. You can't really say, oh, I'm going to do this or that. It must be really, really painful for someone to find out that they were betrayed. So it's something that you can't really...
And of course, we have the flip side of the coin. Someone said, if she cheated on me, I would go out and cheat on her and then kick her out of the house, right? But then you're just becoming as bad as she was, right? If someone does something like this to you and you pay back with the same coin, then you're being as bad as she was. That means you had no standards. And the truth is that when something like this happens, and we really hope that you never have to go through this, you're left with two choices. Depending on how the relationship had been before, you're left with the choice to either forgive the person and try to salvage the relationship, to work the relationship out, but you also have the right, on the other hand, to walk away. The choice belongs to the person, right?
Now, things that the person should not do, because, reasons why the person should not forgive, is that how you because she's afraid of being alone, you should never do that. Or because there's children in that relationship, kids. I mean, not deciding to leave the person because the person has been doing this and hasn't repented, or, they couldn't care less about what they did. But you insist in remaining in that relationship because you have children, because you are afraid of being by yourself, or other reasons like this. It's a no.
When we say that you need to see if there's enough good in the relationship to try to save it, it's not the children, because the children, whether you are in that relationship or not, the children will be there, right? But we mean perhaps your relationship with the person. Sometimes they had a great relationship. It was great. and it was a lapse of judgment from him, from her, whatever it was, and you feel that it's worth forgiving the person and moving on.
But then again, we don't know what happened in that relationship. We don't know what happened, so we can't really say, you know, she should or should not, or he should or he should not forgive, right? Because
the thing is, you know, there's a case of someone who may be a serial cheater, whether it's a man or woman, doesn't matter, and there may be a case we can't, you know, we're not in your relationship, we don't know what happened, and perhaps you had a relationship that was great, everything was going well, and something happened, and we can't say where that something was, and it never makes cheating okay. It's important to say that cheating is never okay, regardless of the period of the person, that in the person's life that they're going through. Cheating is never acceptable, right?
What I think the person in that situation should do really is to put their emotions on the side, to the side, and think, you know, really well, what am I going to do now? With no emotions, because it's a decision you have to make and move on. What you can't do is to remain in that situation, really.
And you know something very important, we're talking about trust. So let's say that we're assuming that you've made a decision to really carry on with the relationship, okay? You've made that decision. Now, here's the important thing. If you feel that this relationship has a future and you decide to move forward with the relationship, you have to feel that you can trust that person again. You have to feel that this was an isolated incident where you can move on and you can believe that you can move on from that incident that happened. If you don't feel that you can do that, that you can trust the person again, then it's like building a house on sand. It's going to collapse, right? You can't do that.
I mean, I think the first thing they have to do really is to sit down and have a very open conversation. And, you know, tell each other what went wrong.
Why that happened.
And why did that happen. And then decide on a few important points. This is how it's going to be from now on. Leave it or take it. Or maybe I can improve on this side, this side, or maybe I can improve there or that. Depending on what happened, like you said, you need to be very, very sincere and honest with one another, and then take it from there.
And of course, something important is that if both decide to work on the relationship, then the one who made a mistake, he's going to have to understand that he's going to have a lot to make up for. He's going to have to show that he has changed.
And be patient, because, you know.
Yeah, but if, for example, if he made a mistake, then he has to understand that she's going to want sometimes clarification on a few things, and he has to be open to answer questions. Not that she doesn't trust, is that she, you know, you need to work on getting that trust back. Of course, the person who was betrayed can't have like a machine gun of questions every time he or she comes in 5 minutes late.
Yeah, you can't do that. No, that's not good. But if the person who betrayed understands what she's done or he has done, they have already to make things easier for the other person and understand how hard it may be for the other person. You know, maybe they were married for like 20-something years, 30, and even if it's 1 year. You know, it's like a lot of trust that it's like flushing down the toilet, like suddenly, oh, what happened? I don't know this person after all. So it's not easy, so you have to understand and be patient with the person and make it easy for her.
That's right.
Or for him.
You know, it is worth sometimes fighting for you to save a relationship. And if you feel that that's the case, the situation that you're in right now, then the important thing is for you to try to put that away and try to move on, right? Learn new things about each other. Maybe you were saying something earlier, just before we recorded, that sometimes there is something wrong with the relationship that they never got to sort out, and that's what caused them to go and do something wrong. Maybe now is the time to start sorting out what was unresolved for a long time.
Absolutely, you have to talk. You need to talk about how you feel in every single way. Oh, we don't have time together as much as we should. We don't have enough intimacy. Just tell the person, whatever, so that you can avoid accidents like this.
And you know, sometimes forgiving is not enough, because the cheating happened as a result of a problem that you had for a long time. So the problem was not the cheating. The problem was what led to that cheating. And if you decide to forgive, then you have to tackle that problem head on without being afraid, and without being afraid to hurt the person, because you're going to tell them how you feel. And once you do that, once you solve the problem that was there prior to the cheating, prior to the betrayal, once you sort that out, then you can move on. Sometimes an experience like that can just be the outburst of what was already hidden for a long time. And that is the real problem. And if you are going to decide to forgive someone, you're going to have to deal with that problem now. Okay? In the second part of this show, we're going to have a couple who recorded a scenario for us. Two actors who recorded a scenario for us, who perhaps are showing what is happening right now in your relationship. And we want you to stay where you are so you can be part of this, because I'm sure it's going to help you. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Now today we're going to go into our love lab, and we have prepared a scenario for you where a couple, Brandon and Jess, they're going through some trust issues because of a past incident where one of them was unfaithful. And we're going to try to help them out, and actually this scenario probably is going to help you out, or friends of yours that are going through the same thing, and how to show you, how to teach you how to get that trust back. Let's see what's happening with them, and we're going to give them some advice.
I'm so glad to have that shower.
You're home late.
Yeah, sorry, Hannah kept us late with a meeting.
Hannah?
Yeah, our new boss, she started about a month ago, and she likes these team meeting skills and all these kind of things.
You haven't told me about her?
Sorry, yeah, I didn't think it was really relevant.
It's like part of your life, a new boss, quite interesting.
Yeah,
Who is she?
She's just my new boss, you know, and just
What's she like?
Pretty normal.
How old is she?
28.
So you can see right there that Jess still has some issues, right? So we can kind of deduct that what happened is that he was unfaithful in the past.
So the new boss is quite normal. So anyway, I understand that she's been through quite a lot in the past, but this is not a good thing to do. It's a no-no. Right. Yeah?
No from him or from her?
From her. You can't do that. I mean, if you go through betrayal, it's up to you to decide if you want to keep this relationship or not. If you decide to keep it, it's a thing that you can't look back. Don't look back.
Yeah.
Because this is going to drive him away.
And sometimes, there are things in a man's life that he doesn't really feel the need to share. And usually the woman is more likely to share details of her day and so on. The man, he gets home, the last thing he wants to talk about is his day. So it could be normal that he hasn't mentioned the female boss who's 28 years old, right?
Yeah, and then if you keep on asking questions, you are actually giving him ideas. Like, oh, she's actually a nice looking lady, or she doesn't trust me anyway, so I can just, do the same again, because she'll never trust me anyway.
But also the fact that, when you decide to forgive, then you have to trust the person.
You have to let go.
You have to let go. You have to, either you trust or you don't. But let's see how things are, if they're really that bad.
You could have, text me or something,
Well, how could I text you? I was in a meeting. I can't exactly get your phone out, can you?
Well, surely she wouldn't mind if you just popped out for a minute and rang me and said you're going to be late.
I'm in a meeting, I'm at work. I can't just say, oh, sorry, just hold that thought.
But I've been waiting for you.
Look, I know, I'm sorry, and I just forgot to text when I was on my way home, and I'm here now, aren't I?
Fine.
Actually, there's something I was going to talk to you about, actually. Tomorrow, Hannah's organised this works team meeting outing and everything, and it's all about building our skills with each other and, working environment. It's kind of a bit weird.
Like an evening thing?
Yeah, it's in the evening tomorrow.
Oh, I can come with you. That'd be really cool.
I think tomorrow is just for work people, but yeah. But in the next one, I'm sure you'll be able to come to. It's just tomorrow. It's literally just the work people, so we can build on our team skills. It's a little weird, really, but you know, it's just one of those things.
Just you and Hannah then?
No, it's not just me and Hannah. It's all of us. So.
Really?
Yeah, really. What's all this about? What's all the questions?
Right.
You can see the piercing eyes, right? She had some quite piercing eyes to ask about this. And actually, if it was just him and Hannah, yeah, I wouldn't be comfortable with that as well.
You
right?
wouldn't go. I wouldn't let you go.
Exactly.
Simple as that.
Also, I would be comfortable with that. But since the whole team is going and sometimes is a work thing, we go back to the point of her still not trusting him, right?
And not only that, if you look at the way she speaks, her expression, I know they are just actors, but this probably happens when you know someone is really suspicious or afraid. You know, you're putting yourself too down there and putting him too up there. It's like, you know, he's like my everything, my all. If he's gonna betray me, oh my God, my life is over. We go back to the same point again. If you don't have the strength, if you don't think you can cope with being with someone who has cheated on you, just let him go.
Yeah.
But don't put yourself down like this.
And the thing is that, you know, to get that trust back, you have to understand that the person has made a mistake, or they have to understand that, oh, look, I made a mistake, I want to change. And then you have to decide to let it go completely. And when you decide to let go, you trust the person, unless he has given you a reason not to trust him. Now, if there has been unfaithfulness before, and now the person's giving you a reason not to trust you, then of course you have to talk to him, or her, right? But if there's no reason, if he came a few minutes late from work because there was a meeting, if there's a work due that you can't be there, that's not necessarily a reason not to trust him. So be careful for you not to go overboard, because then you're just perpetuating something that's not going to work. It's better if you're not to be there, right? Let's carry on.
Well, it's just weird that you just randomly come up with your new boss after all this time.
Well, I didn't think it was really relevant, did I?
I'd like to know.
Okay, sorry, I'll inform you next time I have a new boss.
Thanks.
This is all to do with that, isn't it?
To do with what?
You know what?
No, I don't.
What I did. All these questions and everything.
I just like to know, you know? Like to know things.
You haven't gotten over it, have you?
It's quite hard to get over something like that, don't you think?
Yeah, I imagine it is, and you know that I'm sorry about that. You know that every day I regret that. I try and make it up to you, and I have to live with it every day that I look at you.
I have to live with the fact that you've slept with someone else. How do you think that makes me feel?
Yeah, all right,
That break we had, you weren't off thinking about us or about if we can make it work. You were off with someone else.
But it was a break, wasn't it? I'm not saying that makes okay, it's just...
A break is meant to be about being away from each other, thinking about what we want from each other, not being with somebody else.
I know, and we've been through that, and it was 2 years ago. I mean, don't you realise how much I want to be with you? How much that I love you?
Obviously, that's why I'm still here.
You see, that's something important as well, is that if you really forgive someone, right, then you can't keep mentioning that again and again. Do you agree?
Yes.
And that's not making him exempt or her exempt of what they did, because they made a mistake. But once you agreed to, look, let's put this behind us and move on, you cannot keep going back to that, because it's like you're opening up an old wound, right?
I'm sure that at home you've already noticed that our advice is very simple. If you decide to keep that relationship, you can't look back, because you're going to feel miserable, anxious. Your self-esteem is going to be down there on the floor, and you're going to be like always begging for attention, always like very needy, always very worried, and it's going to destroy your relationship. It's going to destroy it anyway.
And some people may say, look, but if I know that she has betrayed me in the past, then I have to keep my guard up. But then if you keep your guard up, then you don't trust the person, right? And then you say, well, absolutely right, of course I don't trust him, because he cheated on me in the past. But if you don't trust him, then you should not be in that relationship. If you understand he made a mistake, and you are helping him to change, and he has regretted what he's done, or she, we keep on saying he, but she as well, right?
Yeah, it's quite popular nowadays. I mean,
yeah, and if that happened, then you have to move on. You cannot keep mentioning that, bringing that up again, because it's just you're opening up that wound again and again, and you're never going to move on.
And also, I believe that some of them, they do repent. You know, they did something they know they shouldn't have done, and I don't know what happened in their head. I don't know. I wasn't there, but I believe that many did repent and want to move on.
Yeah.
They want to change. So
and by the way, just one last note, just to say that this thing of taking a break doesn't really work. You either are in a relationship or you're not. And if you think that you need a break, then perhaps it's better that you're not together, because a break doesn't solve anything. If you can solve things while you're together, you won't be able to solve things while you're apart, right? Let's finish watching what's happening with them.
That's why I want to be here.
Then why take me back if you're going to just be like this?
Because I don't want to lose you, but I just can't, I can't forget. And I think you just need to be more straight with me. You need to tell me what you're doing and when you're doing it, because I can't, I need you to work with me here.
We can't live like that. I love you, and I need you to know that that's enough. Because if we go on like this, we're not going to be able to be together. It's not going to be a healthy relationship, and I want that for both of us, because I love you and there is no one else, okay? Not Hannah, not anyone, not that girl 2 years ago, it's you. I love you.
I love you too.
Right.
So something important that she said is that you know, she can't forget what happened. And listen, if something like that happens, you can never forget. You just can't. You can't ask someone to forget something.
Erase it from your brain, from your memory.
You can't. It's there. What you can do is, it's like a bad memory. You have a bad memory, but you're living a new reality now. And something we need to say, this is very important, that if you are with a person, but they weren't faithful to you in the past, and you have a reason to believe that you still cannot trust the person, then you should not be in that relationship. If you have a reason to believe that he's still or she's still unfaithful to you, or they're going to do it again, then don't be there. You can only be there if you're absolutely sure that this person has regretted what they've done, and they're going to be faithful to you.
Now, how can you be sure? I'm pretty sure that many are asking, but how can I be sure? It's as if we can hear you at home. How can you be sure? It's this. Some people, they have a history. They are serial cheaters. But then it's not written in their forehead that they are cheating on you. But you can see certain behaviors. For example, when you go out, is he checking other girls out or vice versa? You know, you go out, he has a lot of opposite sex friends, and he likes to go out alone with them. He just enjoys the attention. He's not very open with you, because what happens if you really repent? You want to be as open as possible with the person who was a victim.
That's right.
And without you even asking anything. So there's little things you can pick up, and you give the person a few months, or I don't know, it's up to you, depending on what happened. And then you decide, but you can't be, or maybe, because you're putting yourself down, you're making yourself look like a 0, and you're making him look like a 10.
But you have to remember, though, that, you know, men and women are different. And like we said earlier, this is a very important point, I feel, that, you know, a man, and I speak for myself, you get home and you don't feel the need to share the details of your day. Actually, we don't want to talk about anything to do with our day. And usually a woman, and I say this because I know my wife, there's nothing better for her than to be able to explain to you the details of her day. But you don't want to hear that. So just the fact that someone has a new female boss and didn't feel the need to mention it to you, to him, it may not have been a big deal. And you cannot use that as a reason to create an argument, a problem. Remember that if this is happening, it may be showing that there is something wrong. Maybe you haven't gotten over what happened yet. Maybe you haven't forgiven the person yet. And sooner or later, this is going to start giving you more problems.
And also, James, if he wanted to cheat on her again, he could do it with somebody else other than the new boss. Opportunities are out there, isn't it? If you are looking to cheat on your partner, it's like anything else. If you have an addiction, the opportunity is always there around you.
And
so,
if you say, look, but what if I trust this person and they hurt me again?
Well,
there's always a chance. That's the thing with relationships, right? No matter how much you trust someone and they've never given you a reason to doubt them, there is always a chance that the person can disappoint you. And that's the point in a relationship. You trust the person with your life, right? And you don't question, you don't keep interrogating the person like Jess did. It was a point, it was like an interrogation. You don't do that.
And that breaks, I'm sorry to interrupt you, that breaks the romance. It spoils things between you and him. Now you may be saying, oh, but you don't know what it's like. You're not in my shoes. Well, like you said, James, forgiveness is a decision. Actually, you didn't say, but I wanted to add that. It's a decision that you have to make. Life is full of decisions. You need to make decisions. What you cannot do is to be double-minded. Or maybe, what if? No. You do what you have to do. You want to give him a chance or give her a chance, do it for a while. But then if you don't like what you see, but we're talking about facts, not what you think.
Yeah, not imaginary
Exactly,
things.
because women, we are very good at that. Right? We are very insecure naturally more than men. So it's very easy for us to make assumptions and think, oh, what if, maybe. So it's a decision. You will never forget about the betrayal, but you decide to.
That's right. So remember that you have a choice, right? You have a choice to say, I trust you with my life because I believe you've made a mistake and we're going to move on. And although you can't forget what happened, you can choose not to dwell on that. I can't forget traumas of my past, but I can choose not to live hanging on to them. And that's my choice. So whether you trust someone or not, whether you're going to trust someone or not, it's entirely your choice. You choose. If you feel that there's enough there to make that relationship work, and you can make it work, and you're going to be happy, then give it a chance. If you feel you can trust the person, and move on. But just don't mention the past again. All right? I hope that this program has helped you. We're going to be back again next week. Until then, have a wonderful evening.